Hey folks, we are going to continue our work here in the Eberron map production. It's just adjusting my windows here a touch. And let's see if my signal's coming through. Let's see if my signal's coming through. Affirmative, coming through. A-OK, number 3. All right, y'all. If you follow me on Twitter, I've just posted I'm live on Twitter. You can get notifications from Twitter that I've gone live as well at Phil Kearney, Filkearney. Hey, I'm going to go through my spiel real quick here while I punch out Discord channel hellos. And so, hi, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplements in PDF format that I publish on the DMsGuild. I focus my attention on 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons right now. There are a slew of books that I have already created in the past that are in the link down below. That's a curated selection of stuff that I've produced. Across all the books that are listed, there's probably maybe about 150 different illustrations. If you aren't familiar with the DMsGuild, you can click into any of the DMsGuild links there. They'll take you to either a bundle or a specific product page. Inside bundles, there are multiple products. So you can click on any specific individual product that's listed. And checking my stuff. Double checking my stuff. Edit. Checking my stuff. Sorry. Delay. Okay, great. Yeah, so if you're checking the books down below, each of them has a book cover, and then underneath the book cover is a link to the PDF. And if you're on a mobile phone, there's an eye icon on the right. So whether you click the free preview link on desktop or tablet, or the eye icon on your phone, either case, it throws up in a PDF. You can read the entire document cover to cover. Check out the artwork. If you're a D&D enthusiast, check out the mechanics. If you think this stuff is cool and you want to encourage me making more of it, consider buying something. It is greatly appreciated. And let's see, what else can we do? On the channel, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to let the algorithms know that people are interested in cartography on YouTube. Our adventure design in general, we build adventure supplements for Dungeons and Dragons. Basically, hold on, I'm going to. There we go. Those are pretty good. We create the we do the writing. We hire an editor for cleanup. Once the edits are done, we get the material back, and in the meantime, we build the book cover. And interior art and all the assets and stuff that are needed to run the adventure or to use whatever supplement it is that we're producing. Yeah, so there you go. Right now we're creating an adventure called this is Crystals of Mabar. Give me a hot second here for me to Crystals of Mabar. Boop, boop, boop. There's the book cover that we created. This is back like, I think, around episode, I want to say episode 40, 43 maybe, on the DMsGuild. It'll probably be about that big when you see it. So hopefully that's interesting to pull people into the work. And this is the 4th map that we've created in this series. So if you want to see the other maps that we've created, you can go and check the Crystals of Mabar playlist that I have here on my channel. And that'll take you to all the other stuff that we've produced to date. So we're just going to continue with production for the time being. And oh yeah, I should set a timer. So let's set a timer. I get about I want to say maybe 50 minutes, maybe about 100 minutes that we'll be working on this. We're going to break it up into chunks of 20 minutes. 20 minutes on the block. Let's do some cartography. All right. Sorry, clean up on hair number 3. Good to go. Good to go. We're tearing holes out of the wall here, just to break up the monotony of the texture, and to sort of give it I guess just a more of a just a more interesting texture, just breaking it up a little bit to give your eyes something to chew on a little bit while you look at this stuff. Like that. I don't have to be ridiculous with these things. I'm just trying to break up these blocks a little bit. So it has like a hewn look to it, like these things have been carved out of the stone. And that feels pretty good. Gotta spatter a bit. Doesn't have to be anything too extensive. Just tapping at it just to break up the space a little bit, to just create these unexpected, unnatural, organic, non-patterned. Like the brush that we used is that recurring brush. You can see that pattern over and over again. So by punching holes in it, it makes it it takes it away from that. Makes it feel organic again. Even though it's made out of the same recurring brush, I think it just adds a little bit of interesting language to it overall. So I'm pretty happy with how that looks. Actually, we'll erase some of that. Yeah, because I wanted a little bit more language in here. And I wanted to wait for these things back here a bit more. There. That feels better. Yeah, feels pretty good. I'm on board with that. Let's see. Looks good, looks good, looks good. I love this. Just say I love this. I'm going to do a dirty screen save. Black and white. Walls, huh? Let's go to here and then go back to walls. Good. Drop this back here and make that disappear. And hey, Nitro, it's good to see you, my dude. Yes, isn't that great? Man, I'm really happy with how that turned out. That stuff is looking pretty good. I might futz with this a little bit, but spoiler alert, there's a black ooze at the bottom of this, which is this should be draining. But the water is accumulated because the hole that leads down into the Kyber here is clogged with a black pudding. So the water puddles up but slowly drains through the pudding. So if the team kills the pudding, it will eventually drain after a number of hours. But that's what's caused this accumulation, and that's why I have that kind of whirlpool-y look to it. So I will have to build a mat, and it's got all this corrosion and stuff that makes it sink down lower. So like the water level is like this whole area is like a sink pit. So I will probably have to I'll probably have to build a supplemental map for like if the water drains. So I don't want to do that right now. We'll do that as a stretch goal. But yeah, hopefully it's theoretically possible that the team's going to take this place over and keep it for themselves, which means they have to clear it, which means they'll eventually have to kill the black pudding and all the undead that are crawling around underneath this water that's accumulated. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how murky, weird, icky it is. So far so good. I might want to blend this stuff in a little bit more, but I'm pretty happy with the language overall. So cheers us. I'm going to drop this BW for a while now and get over here, and we are working on wall here. How do we want to do this? How do we want to do this? I feel like we want to do it kind of like that. And here like that. Yeah, that should do. That'll do. Hey, big shout out to everybody that's been subscribing. It's really appreciated. We picked up 3 followers today, and that is my best, I think, one-day pull I've ever had. So that's super awesome that folks are taking interest in what we're doing here. And so, you know, thank you. Big shout out. All the bloody blahs. If you're new to the team, thank you for showing up and checking out what we got going on. I'm gonna do this like that. How's that do? Yeah, that'll be okay. See. Or keeping them as high maintenance pets. Absolutely, my man. However you like to run whatever your team's trying to do. The tools are there for the DM to accommodate them, of course. Here. It's doing some spot fixing on this door. I'll go back through and be more meticulous with it later when you guys don't have to be bored with the effort. I really want to focus on floor grit today. So give me a hot second here to get all this stuff resolved, and we'll get on with getting on. Like that. I know I'm missing text over there on the side. Give me a hot second here for me to get my stuff saturated, and then I'll take a look at what we got going on. Brr. All right, what we got going on over? So next session is this for nice. The party scouted out information for places to visit on the way to Thistlebrook. Cool. I'm trying to decide on how to handle those adventures on their way there. So don't want to spend too much time on it, but don't want to just gloss it over. Oh yeah, right on. What are you thinking about? What kind of trouble do you think you're going to get into? I eventually need to build a stairway here. I am not quite ready for that yet, I think. Yeah, I'm just making temporary solutions here. I need to duplicate this layer. So that gap there that remains here, that's good. So far, so good, so what? Nee. This is how big the door is supposed to be. Except I screwed it up when I built the map initially, so now I'm having to redo. How do I want to do this? Free transform. Nope. Go. Let's do this. and we'll copy paste like that, and then free transform equals flip horizontal. This is absolutely not the way to do this. Yeah, this is a certified hot mess over here. But this is the thickness it's supposed to be, so I want to make sure I got it on the board before I forgot about it. If it's ugly like this, I'll definitely remember it. I'll probably fix this off screen, not bore you guys with the ugliest of details. Transform equals and equals and equals. Good enough for now. Good enough for now. That puts us where the door is supposed to be. Ooh. Door bits. Useful door bits. So let's see. I like one social, one exploration, of course, for a long trek from point A to point B. Nice. 3 leads. 3 leads the party picked up on are an alchemist. I'm thinking they'll find an abandoned tower. Cool. A traveling group of performers, costume designers, and a watchmaker. Interesting. I'm going to drop these doors in here just so we get a sense of where, because we're going to start gritting the floors, so we want to make sure we know where the crystals can and can't be. That's basically what we're trying to do here. And all these doors actually have windows in them, so you can see into the rooms that are being affected, but I'm not going into high detail work on those yet. It's just fun having windows. This door can't close, so I'm leaving that one open. I mean, logically, right? If you can't close it, you should leave it open, huh? Let's do that. Let's go free transform. Pop, 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 pop. There. 20-minute timer. Let's keep it going. Cool. Mostly like this door stays open. This door stays open. This door stays open, but this one stays closed. This one stays closed, and this one stays closed, and this one stays closed. All 4 of these stay closed. This definitely stays closed, and it's pretty much welded shut. So that's a hell of a challenge for folks to get over. This one opens and closes, but for the most part stays closed. So some of these are open, some of them closed. And all this area here, this is clean airspace that is maintained by cantrips. And this darkened area here is where we have crystal pollution that is mucking up the floors. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're gonna build doors. We're gonna do floor muck. So let's go fetch. One encounter I planned long before I began the adventure is a group of bandits. They set up an ambush to people fleeing the farms of the Thistlebrook area because a lot of people sure are leaving. Yeah, exploits, man. That makes a lot of sense. That would actually if one of the bandits, if the bandits caught somebody that like they thought had money, like an ex-Siren, maybe like a Siren refugee that does have nobility, but hasn't found where their tribe is at, or their people. I'm tribe. Let's see, art 1, 2, act. Let's go to act 2. And well, that's not the right one to look at. Oh, I want act 3. Silly me. No, I want act 2. Let's go back. Open. Act 2. There we go. That's the kind of stuff that I want. All right, here's the cemetery map that we built. Well, that's a work in progress anyway. That's the wrong one to look at then, Kearney. Let's get the one that's got grit on it. Open. Says me. This is going to be a monster. And so if the bandits have captured people that are like from this particular town, that could feed them in. Like the bandits would be a great way to get on the radar if they aren't on the radar of the sheriff. Clearing out bandits would be a great way for them to get on the radar of the sheriff. 40. There's a lot of inconsistency with these crystals. I'm not understanding why that is. That's what it's supposed to be anyway. All right, cool. So we got the color that we need. This is such a great map. This is just such a sick map. Such a sick map. Get out of here, buddy. All right, so we go into our crystals. We're gonna do some floor gunk. I'm gonna go Do you have them angling into the hold on, I need to thin this down a bit. Let's go find where we're supposed to be. Hold on. Doors. Wall. Floor. This is our floor layer officially. Yep. Getting gritty. I thought there was more messages coming in. My bad. Yeah, we're just going to saturate the area, and then we're going to be selectively erasing and then filling back in. It's part of the process. You saw a lot of this in the previous maps that you can see in the playlist above, me going through this crystallization process. But this is the stuff that just grows everywhere as a result of the manifest zone. So, hey, that's looking nice. Thank you, thank you. It is certainly coming along. This texturing process, once we get the texturing done, all we really got to do is fix the doors, and then put in flagstones for the clean air region, and then this thing will pretty much be done. We'll be able to move on to the village. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to the texturing and coloring that village a lot. I think it's going to be really fun. I haven't done a color village map professionally yet, so it's going to be a process of discovery. But thanks for the compliment. I'm really proud of how these maps are turning out. That's for sure. Doodle-doo-doo-doo-dun-dun. Look at that. Love how these things just fit. This kind of leans into that conversation we were having about how you develop your own artistic style, and the brushes that you use kind of lean into, like, the brushes that you create for yourself ultimately work best with your own style. Like, you can use other people's brushes, but you're basically borrowing somebody else's style. You aren't really developing your own at that point. It's kind of a crutch, you know. Like, you can take brushes and mess around with them, but then I really recommend modifying them so that they serve your purposes more thoroughly. Like these little curves here, like, these are all natural shapes that are coming from my intuition about how this wall should move. I have a language, an internal unique signature of how I make, like, all these like little bumble things that are going along the wall here. That's because it's like coding to my artistic DNA, you know. Big words coming from the guy. It's but yeah, I mean, if you're creating your own brushes, these brushes, like I'm using, just naturally kind of fit in with what my muse intuits for me to make the jags here and there, and it's just not surprising that these just fit the spaces naturally that we're building. So the brushes I create are complementary to the type of lines that I make. So when I make a brush for myself, it kind of just automatically keys into my own unique art style. So it's generally why I don't make art brushes available for other people, because if you're at a place where you should be exploring brushes, you'll how to put this, like, I'm not a big believer in I need that brush set for me to be a better artist. I'm like, if you're at a place in your construction where you're like, God, there's got to be an easier way for me to construct this thing. Maybe if I had a customized brush to help automate this process, I can have the same look, but I can produce it quicker because the brush is going to take care of all these little stipple marks for me, right? That was the idea that went behind me using this brush in the first place. So like there's no real reason to make brushes just to make brushes. Those brushes are serving a purpose for the larger project that you're working on. And then you can find, well, this was a cool brush, maybe I can use it elsewhere. And then it starts to build into into the natural language that you express as an artist. So, I guess there's a soundbite. So, let Bob be your uncle. We'll probably cut that out and make it a quick little blurb for people to ignore or pay attention to as they please. I'm liking these little blurb pieces, like starting to find. I will say this. I spent a lot of time watching Indestructiboy's design streams, and he is really good about starting and ending topics of conversation. Like I think he's been at it long enough that he just, his cadence, his natural cadence during stream opens up opportunities to be able to extract small snippets of knowledge to be able to create as shorts or as separate little videos. And I admire that that control he has over his conversations and his topics and how he can guide stream conversations. I think that is a skill worth training. So this is me slow cooking my ability to extract pieces of information from a stream into separate little just quick dialogue pieces. So you talking about brushes, that's one of them. There you go. I should probably timestamp that. Where are we at? Live 3806. So like 3036. Time stamping, blurb about custom brushes. There you go. Hopefully that'll help me remember. Yeah, I think I want to go back to where are we at? 60. Yeah, I'll stay here for a bit. I kind of want to start building out with larger. Oh man, this will take a while. So I should really increase the size of the brush that I'm using. So big so fast. There we go. That feels better. Now there's a stuff called Vulpina Lotharia, which is there's a slew of different types of plants, necrotic plants that we developed for this adventure that can be scattered throughout, and like little yellow cap mushrooms and razor vines, and the Lotharia is it releases a stinking cloud gas. Like if this, so here's our grid, and if I were to have a piece of Lotharia right here, then if you step into the space, you get affected by a stinking cloud effect. So I don't actually want to include any Lotharia on the map itself. Ideally I want the DM to decide how much they want to pepper into the game space, like, because you can just destroy this stuff and it's no longer a threat. And because it is a hostile space, like it's a threat. So I don't want to make it a permanent feature on the map, because if the team has earned a hating for Lotharia in the previous maps on their way down in here, they may pick up a habit of just burning the stuff to get rid of it. And if that's the case, I don't want it to be a permanent fixture on the map. And I recognize it may be a bit to ask the DM to pepper that stuff in throughout a dungeon, but I just think it's a better option to have it, because when we drop this into the actual adventure pages of the PDF, it can just be a quick little blurb saying, hey, to show where fun places to have piles of Lotharia is inside of the map space, but make those separate pieces that you can place yourself. So, like, if you want your map to look like this, add Lotharia here, 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 and here. Like, that's kind of the thought that I'm having behind that. Because Lotharia, it becomes a threat. I mean, if you step into that stuff and you start throwing up and stuff, it's going to eat up your action economy. So it's a good way to, it's a hazard that you can, that was the word I was looking for, hazard. It's a hazard that you can add as needed, but it also has harvestable, is that a right word? You can harvest it for different alchemical uses. So the DM can decide how much of the Lotharia or like yellow caps or razor vine is in any particular area. And if the DM doesn't want any in that area, then if it was there, it's been harvested already, or it just simply hasn't had an opportunity to spawn in that area yet. First comes the moss, and then after the moss comes the crystals, and then from the crystals grows all the other plants. It becomes these crystals is like the soil, like the natural, quote unquote, natural soil of Mabar. So it's everywhere in this manifest zone. The longer the manifest zone remains active, the more the terrain converts into Mabar terrain. Other than being gritty and being horrible for stealth checks, this stuff is relatively harmless. But you can gather it up and make alchemical materials with it and use it for spell components. So it has a lot of value, but it also spawns really, really quickly. So I'm content with this stuff just littering the floor everywhere. But we're going to go through and disintegrate a lot of it anyway. I just like saturating the area of the crystal first and then going through with a similar type eraser using the same brush and just destroy areas. Just like we did on the previous maps. If you check the playlist, you'll see other sessions, like in the cemetery in particular, where we spent a number of hours just littering and layering in shitloads of little crystals everywhere for just to make gritty texture for the ground. just love the landscape. It's just, I don't think I've really ran across an adventure that spends any time on like the quality and nature of soil. I think that's cool. Plus, it helps your DM, like your druid in the party. It's like, oh yeah, this shit's not natural. It's like, no kidding. Thank you, druid. Thank you for that great piece of insight. This is not a natural occurring thing. But you know that they could get in on that action. Let you know what's going on. This is where one of the air purifiers are set permanently. It has a 20-foot reach. So when you drop an air purifier in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can drop it here. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's not right. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. It's here. So that's the position that it's in. So you have this air purifier with a 20-foot radius. So it'll keep this whole area clean. If this door gets open, none of the crystal gunk can get in through the door because the air purifier will be blocking access here. And there's another one situated here so they can keep this area clear, but the crystals are starting to grow in and grit over here, so they have limited resources. So they keep one here, they keep one here, and as long as these doors stay shut, that pretty much cuts off anything else from gunking up the works. But they also keep one in here because this is where they do most of the alchemical stuff, so they want to make sure that the air is clear for where they're doing chemistry, so it doesn't pollute the entire under facility. Yeah, fun stuff. Bling. I feel like I need to hit the save button real quick, so we're going to let that save while we sit here and stipple out some more crystals. Never didn't have it. I can just drop crystals underneath these rocks and go back through and erase as I need. There, like that. This is probably one of the most meditative processes I can do. Just stippling. It's such a satisfying function. This also just fits nicely. I mean, not everything's perfect, but there's a lot of perfect. There's a lot of perfect in here. There we go. There we go. It's the spaces in between that leave room for you and I to grow. Entre Nos by Rush off of Permanent Waves. If you don't know Rush, you should check out some Rush. Permanent Waves. I wish I could play it, but I would get demonetized. And a strike, and I don't want to endure all that crap. But God, Rush is so good. So good. There's a magical barrier that separates this zone from this middle area here. It's going to have the same texture and grid on it, but I needed to make a line of separation there to signify the magical zone. It's like this. It's like a magical scheme. You can just push through it, but it'll hit you with a wave of fatigue when you do. Look at all that grit. Such wonderful grit. Apparently, I don't have a lot to say. tonight. That's okay. Everyone deserves rest. Yes. This fits together so nicely. Nice. Wait. Better. Oh yeah, much better. Good puzzles. Feel a pilot dropping in. It's just so intense. It's so much. There's so much of it. It's so freaking great. Man, I love it. Where are we at? Here on the floor. Just fill this in like that. Mutt style. Smudge it in. There we go. Where they're harvesting crystals. You know what? I don't know yet. Right now, I'm just more interested in just saturating the floor. But I think it'd be fun to have tracks, like little cleared out marks like this, where it's showing more traffic than other areas. I like that idea. I also like the idea of just creating like little little stamps, like this 3x3 area here, I can have filled in as like just like a little lump that the DM could then take and like drop in an area if you want. So I could like leave patches, but the DM could mess around with them if they wanted to. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but it's an idea. I originally liked the idea of leaving these just completely blank and then just creating these like little 3x3 blocks or whatever for the DM to fill in on your own, but just didn't pan out. It felt more fun creating the crystals themselves. But then what I could do is create clear tracks. Like instead make like little pockets like this that are clear of areas, so the DM could decide to drop in blank areas as well as like the little patches of the Lotharia that I was talking about. Just having those as little things to sprinkle into the map actually sounds like a lot of fun, but it is asking a lot for the DM to customize it like that. So, but it's an option that we can just put in the folder for people to make use of if they want to. So. And just draw attention to it as like a side blurb. It's like, hey, if you wanna make this place grittier, check out the decals, the Lotharia and the razor wire and the yellow cap stickers that we provided in the folders if you purchase the adventure. I think that's a good solution. To be able to have like clear patches, gritty patches, Lotharia, as well as yellow cap, and just have those things that are just laying around. And then when we break down the map into individual pieces, like when we build out this room specifically, I could have like a big lump of Lotharia over here, and like have yellow caps all along the wall over here, and muck it up however I want, and just have those like as suggestions. I don't know. How does that jive with you, man? Does that sound like too much work? Because if it's a dumb idea, I won't do it. Right on. So I can just have like a base grit, and then have customizable little stamps that you put on things. Like the doors are stamps. So like all the doors will like by default be open, but there'll be like the little door icon that you can just drop into place on the map. I like Roll20 for that. It's like super easy just to push icon. I mean, I'm sure every BTT it's easy to push icons around like that, but I just like being able to click on something and then be able to pull it to the DM layer so it disappears, and then click on it again and drop it back down into the visible pane again. That's just fun. Like to be able to have like open doorways and then drop and like have the doorway be in there. To have the door in the doorway as a manipulatable object. Burp, burp, burp. Thank you. Time for a drink. I really like the air filters that, like the portable air purifiers that they use, as it speaks to how much the NPC villains like knew what they were getting into. Like they provided the things that were going to be necessary to be able to sustain a mercenary force that they didn't want to get infected with, gross. That actually kind of speaks to how Solzu had a military background. He's working with veteran mercenaries that came as referrals. He checked out for the mercs that hired on. His references came through as good. And he's thinking ahead about, like, I know, like, they did their research. We know this is what's going to happen to this place. We know it's going to get overran with this muck, and we can't expect a random dude to be tolerating all this crap. But then the undead threat gets all crazy, and their lives are all threatened. So, like, for weeks, they're like, this isn't a bad gig, until it, like, turns horrible. Until it immediately just turns regrettable, and they're like, "Oh, this is I don't know if we want to hang with this or not, honestly." And then things start to get a little shaky, which creates the opportunity for the players to drive a wedge between the mercenaries and the Emerald Claw that are running the show here, and so that the team can turn the mercs against the big bad evils. Like, if you really want to take this place over, like, treating the mercenary platoon well is a fast path for you to pick up some hirelings and maybe keep them stationed here since they're already familiar with the region. Keep them occupied here, and like even build an alliance with the nearby villages, so like you can have like a low-key silent understanding between the refugees that are setting up these communities here and the mercenaries that you have patrolling the area while you're off saving the multiverse. You gotta stay here and make sure this place doesn't get wrecked, and we'll bring you a cut of our loot when we come back. Like, well, sounds like a pretty fucking cushy job to me, man. I'd be on board with that. Like a security detail. And get to know the locals. So like when they start having like a farmer's market and stuff, that they'll treat you well because you're acting as as a police, a down low police force for these refugees that aren't technically on the grid at all. And you've got a badge. Like if you're going with the deputy route and you've been given a badge, like you have total authority over this area. It's like, hey sheriff, we got this place taken care of. Ask us anything, anytime that you need, but we've got this place on lockdown. Don't worry about it. Like, thanks for taking that off of my plate. It's legitimately appreciated. So I dig that. I dig that as a concept in general. I like it. Hey, we've successfully gridded this entire map, so we're going to, as we do, duplicate the layer. And then we're going to go through with the same type of eraser, the same brush for the eraser, and we're going to just start poking holes in it. We're going to start at areas that would have a lot of traffic. Like this door would be open, and this door would be open. This door stays closed. These doors are supposed to stay closed, so we would have less degradation in that area, although it would be great for harvesting. So like, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody came drifting over this way to come pick at this stuff occasionally. But you see the way that this erases, it leaves all that grit left over. It's a great brush technique to be able to just build in that grit, and then we can go back through again and relayer it, and it's fun. So we put it all in, and we erase it, and then we put it back in. But some of them are not. I'm curious what the effect this will have. Me too. What other plot points are you using other than the deputy? Deputy is such a great default. Because it really just literally gives them the authority to ask questions of anybody. So when we do this erase bit, we got that grittiness going there, but we can leave more holes in the terrain in general because the erase effect leaves that additional texture. I dig it. Let's see. Formerly Iter Academy deputy. Oh yeah, right on. And 2 of them are friendly. Oh, that's fantastic. Those all sound like they curve together really well. So they're going to be there too late, huh? They're going to get there and there's going to be sad times for those 2. Nice. Very, very nice solution, man. Well played. Well played. That's the kind of crap that I like to hear as a designer. When a player wants to start when the DM starts wanting to muck around with stuff, I imagine it was pretty easy for you to go ahead and just do that, right? Like it just made sense with the storyline, so you just did it. That's perfect. That's freaking perfect. Absolutely love hearing that. You're gonna run this as multiple sessions, like for however long they want to screw around in this place. You're good with them being there, long rests and stuff. Doesn't sound like you're setting it up as a one-shot at all. So that's because you can always have, like, if the town hasn't been attacked yet at any time, you can pretty much drop those zombies on them. Especially if like they're screwing around too much. It's a great timer. Text appears. So I'm planning for the encounter with bandits to happen the same day they enter the town, so they'll be tempted into resting. Nice. Very, very well played, sir. Hell yeah. Nothing like a bunch of undead walking into town and trying to kill people to kind of raise the alarm that there's something going wrong in this place. And then some of their family is missing too, and they're out there with the zombies. Oh god, they're gonna be motivated. That's great. And then the zombie tracks will just lead them just right into the cemetery. Freaking perfect. Tell me you're railroading your team without actually railroading your team. Good DMing. There is the DM improvising the situation, so it just happens to coincide with where the DM was hoping they were gonna go. That's just good DMing. I don't want to. This is not a braggy statement at all when I say this, but there is a distinct difference between creating an adventure and writing a story, and I've been at it for so long. I think I just kind of take it for granted, but I think a lot of the newer generation that are just starting to get their hand into gaming, and you see it crop up all the time on Reddit and stuff that. They're trying to create their own, like they're trying to branch out and create their own adventures, but they will often just end up writing a story, and they're like, I don't know how my character's supposed to fit into this story. It's like, it's because you made a fucking story, man. There's no way that story is going to survive any encounter with the players at all without completely tipping the hand that you're trying to shoehorn them into this story. And they're not going to, most likely, they're not going to get all the nuances and know all the bits that are involved with the psychology of the NPCs that are involved in this story in the first place. It's like, the players are not the audience, man. They are the main character. They are literally the main characters of the story. It's like the DM can't really write this story and have any idea of what the players are going to do inside of it. You have to build an adventure like that. The NPCs and the creatures have an agenda, and like, if they aren't fucked with, this is what they will do, but these are the things that they're going to do if they are fucked with. Like, that's a well-constructed adventure. And I mean, I've gathered from feedback that we've constructed this thing properly to actually kind of work in that flow. But again, it's really great to see. Like, you don't want the adventure to stand as is. You want the DM to get what's happening inside of this scenario and understand the motives of the people involved with it well enough that they can tear it apart and put it back together again and still understand where the NPCs sit inside the new scenario that you're generating. So, I mean, my opinion anyway. Like, if your adventure is so convoluted and complicated that the DM that bought this thing can't just like tear chunks out of it and just make it make sense and work as intended, then there's some sort of there's components missing from that adventure that need to have been thought through. And God willing, I won't eat crow on this conversation. But that's good design. So I just write NPCs and problems and pray that the players write the story. That's their job. That's the whole point of the players role playing, is that they encounter a scenario and they want to and they want to, like, theoretically they're supposed to be making some sort of a mark on this world, or you know, doing good TM. So it's not the DM's job to provide a story. I wonder about that, about like the amount of Let's Plays that have cropped up on YouTube that have you as a passive audience member, and like, if you love Critical Role and you love what happens there, are you loving are you loving the story, or are you looking at the mechanics and how the game is being constructed? Like what's the team being led into, and can you observe how the players are responding to it and kind of get inside of like where did that come from? That's why I have such a difficult time with Let's Plays. Like I'm not a big fan of watching Let's Plays, mostly because I don't care about their story. Like whatever story it is that they're doing, I don't know. I find Let's Plays have a lot more social interaction just because the nature of the content seems to be more prone towards social engagement and conversations as opposed to combat, which doesn't necessarily make for good television. But I have to, as a DM, I have to have the threat of violence ever present and possible at any time, because the players need to be thinking about, are we about to stick our foot in our mouth that's going to get our head cleaved or not? And it just feels like, though, maybe I just don't watch good Let's Plays. I just feel like they steer away from combat for the sake of the viewership, and it just doesn't feel pure. But maybe I'm just too old to get it, and there's every possibility of that. Like when I'm running a game, I want my players to be like, I don't want to worry about a camera someplace, or like, are we gonna lose viewership if we make this decision, because it might not be the cool thing to do, but it's what the team wants to do. I don't want to have an external factor impacting the decisions that are being made or played to the audience. It's like that's. Like, in my opinion, it really should be about the players, and to hell with anyone else's participation or interest. Anyway, that's my rant. Don't mind me just ranting. I am very ranty today. Don't mind me. Biggest problem is that I tend for the NPCs I put in front of the party to be ready to wipe the floor with them if they're slighted. Oh, aggressive DM, are we? Do you actually have a problem with that? Are the players like super aggressive so that's the culture that they built? Because the game that you run is as much the fault of the players as it is for the DM. As the DM's presenting content, then it's really up to the players to decide how they want to engage that stuff, right? Oh, I see. Use the threat of violence to try to push their hand. Is that it? It takes a lot of setup for you to have other types of motives built into something. Like if they're like the ticking clock, of the teams becoming aware that this ritual thing is happening, and whether they beat up the bad guys or not, they still have to deal with the aftermath of whatever it is that they were building momentum towards, Like, you could kill these guys, but you might not be able to get the information that you needed as a result of it. And now you're kind of trying to figure things out on your own. And that can be a really big challenge. But it takes a lot of setup to be able to not use violence as your default. I use violence as my default all the time. Like it is an ever-present threat with most of the people that they deal with. Not that I'm trying to give you any advice or nothing. Just striking conversation. Trying to work with players and such. This nice. Do the players play into their flaws? Like, do they make a thing out of it? As I mean, if they're providing you with ammunition, that's amazing. Like, in my opinion, really good players that care about their characters' motives and stuff, the player doesn't have to work in those things. The DM can just do what the DM is doing, and the players are going to find an excuse for their character's backstory to become relevant in that, in whatever that scenario is. Like, if you have to spoon feed your team opportunities for them to express their characters, they're passive. They're an audience. They're not really taking command of the adventure and building their world out of it. It's about a lot, but that's something that players have to learn. Honestly, you can't crap on them too much. I can't crap on them too much for that if that happens. And demanded ammunition. Nice. Barbo, man. We're gonna do like that. Let's grit this place up. I'm going to leave that empty for now. I want to do something special with that, but I haven't figured out what it is yet. So I'm just going to keep gritting the path. I just want to chalk this up a little bit. I want to leave the walls like more dirty than the central path, so I kind of want to have like I kind of want to carve this path out here. prisoners are kept in here, so this place is going to be ground down a lot. I like this. The more we pick away at the terrain, the more the area gets foot traffic, right? So there's a bunch of prisoners that are kept in here, like the family members that the team have bought into. So the central area here would be mostly clear, and then leaving it gritty in the corners. Just ask my players how they would feel for me to incentivize direct their characters, but why do that when I can scheme instead? If you can pull off snarky hidden options and build plans within plans, and they realize it's happening, that is a great moment for the players. To when they like suddenly become paranoid, it's like, crap, how much of this has Nitro actually thought out ahead of time? And how much are we actually just playing in what they want? Like, that level of paranoia in a team is fantastic. Like, when they can't tell the difference between whether you're improvising something and it's planned, that's peak gaming. Because that kind of like instills a level of trust into the DM. Like the more the party thinks that you're outmaneuvering them and that you've thought things ahead, the more they really feel that they. I guess opinions can vary, so I'll just go off my own opinion here. Is that because I mean, someone can always prove you wrong, but the general sense I get is once the party believes that like. That the DM really has it covered, and that they are free to pretty much do whatever they want, then they are much more on board with the DM leading them someplace, because it doesn't feel like a railroad anymore. It feels like the DM doesn't give a crap what you do, but if you go in this direction, he's got cool stuff planned out. And once you have that level of trust of the players and they like how you narrate, sometimes they just go along just because they want to know what you're trying to do. Like, this is awesome. What are we doing here? You know, that's a huge compliment when you have a team that just actively is like, yeah, we just want to see where you're taking us. We love this. It can get frustrating if they take too passive a role, because they could just be passive players, and they're using that as an excuse for them not having to make a decision, which can be frustrating. But if there's a legit appreciation for the craft that you're putting together for them, then they feel empowered. They can do whatever they want, but at the same time, they know that if they go with with whatever is obviously being put in front of them, that they can just trust you that you're going to lead them to something cool. But at the same time, I don't like taking a lot of story beats from the characters' backgrounds, because again, I like them having to stay sharp and try to figure out for themselves, even if it's retroactively or out of sessions. Like, hey, I think my character would be involved in this thing by X, Y, and Z. You know, I'm interested in that. It's like, that's great. How do you see that playing out? You know, and let them take that participation level. Anyway, I'm half talking out of my ass right now. But that trust is huge. I have to hop up. Oh, right on, man. I appreciate it, Nitro. It's great having you around, dude. It's thanks for showing up and thanks for being interested and thanks for any feedback that you get. It's I'm loving that your team's getting into this, and I'm loving that you're gonna be diving into the actual space soon. That's super cool. So I hope you have a great night, man. Thanks for being here. I feel like I have a timer should be popping sometime soon. That's yeah, I've got about 15 minutes left myself till we hit 9. So yeah, we got 15 minutes left. That's where I'm at. And this is the grit that we've figured out so far. Nice. I can't really go wrong with this stuff. It's just texture. But sometimes some blocks just feel better than others. Really grit up the edges here. like this this thickening along the edges, because all the other areas above ground haven't been this dense. This is like, this underground stuff is like the densest presence of crystals that they're going to experience, period. And I like that we can change the texture like that as needed. It's super cool. I think actually what might be really fun is to build footprints, like foot tracks that the DM can lay down behind the party as they're moving through this stuff. That might actually be really cool. So fun. That looks so good. Oh man, I am loving this. I am loving it. Dum-dum-dum. Dum-dum-dum-dum. I should have this stuff like running off into the water. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I'll get to this room over here eventually. But I've got about 4 minutes left in today's session, so we're gonna just pick at stuff a little bit here and there, and then we'll just pick it up again probably on Thursday. Sick. Just sick. It's down here is less populated. Arrgh. That is not my actual alarm. That's just a, hey, it's 9 o'clock here in Seattle alarm. Ah, I'm loving this layering. This is so good. I love introducing the second layer into this. This is so good. Of course, it's worse underground where it's actually originating from than the surface. It should just be worse. Guys, our session is coming to a close. There it is. All right, so we're gonna have to cut here. I want to press a couple more buttons here real quick just to feed this stuff in a bit, erase it a little bit more. So you got this layer, and I got this layer, and stacking them on top like this like gives it just that extra level of grit. I can't believe I didn't think of this before. Oh, it's freaking perfect. God, and that density along the walls helps differentiate it from the rest of the terrain. It's so good. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. What happens if we just lighten it up a little bit? God. So good. All right. I'm really glad we built this grid to have that underline white and black effect. That's just working out for us. Working out bigly, yo. All right, that is the end of my session. God, that looks so good. All right, we'll have to cut it here, and we will be back tomorrow morning. We're going to continue with more Light as Araxis NPC token art tomorrow morning in about 9 hours. And so we'll do that tomorrow, which is Tuesday, as well as and we have martial powers at lunch tomorrow. Nice. If everything goes well, that'll be at noon, which is 15 hours from now. So 6 hours from now, we'll continue with Light as Araxis NPC token art, and then at noon tomorrow, Seattle time, which is 15 hours from now, we will continue with the Martial Powers project. I wanted to look at a Monk Battlefield Disruptor build inspired by the Blade Runner anime. So I'm going to play some hopefully non-demonetizing footage from that, and just admire the work there, and then try to build a monk out of it. So. That's it for now, guys. I will see you all on the other side. I hope you have a great night, and thanks for being here. Like, subscribe, check out the stuff down below. See you on the other side.